This is the first time I have been back in my room since before Christmas, and it is so surreal right now. Literally, guys, I was so tired before Christmas that I left experiment stuff sitting in my room. Gross. This was Density, and that's a candy pumpkin. So yeah, they've been working on the roof. So they covered all of our electronics and things like that, which I'm grateful for. We have an amazing staff here of custodial people that I love. All right, I'm gonna turn the lights off. Let's see. Oh, they took all of my power strips. I'm gonna have to, I'll be back. I have to deal with all of this. So, funny thing, this is what I'm teaching currently in my 7th grade class. I was teaching it before Christmas, but I was actually teaching it with my other section that I no longer have. Kind of makes me miss them a little bit. And you can see the last time I changed the board. We actually had school on Friday the 18th, but you know how the last day is. So here is our schedule before we left for Christmas. We had arrival and breakfast. We had to go out and pick up our kids and do all the thermometer, temperature checks, questions, all that at the front. Then we had a restroom break at that time, which our class started at like 8. So like 25 minutes later, I had my restroom break, but those were all spaced out for different teachers. Then I had first block and then a mask break outside, and then second block after that. And then basically we had another mask break and we ate lunch in the classrooms. And then students were supposed to work on their second block work. Sometimes we would work it out with the other teacher to Zoom with those kids. But other times they just had completely asynchronous work to do. And then, you know, restroom, and then it's time to go. Not long after that, before I give my kids like 15-20 minutes in the end of the day because they didn't have social time. So this was socially distanced social time where I allowed them to, like, they could go online and play like an educationally approved game that they could both be in, or they could Zoom with each other, or they could just sit 6 feet apart and talk to each other with their masks on, that kind of thing. So that was our old schedule. With our new schedule, once Christmas break was over, the board actually voted to keep us 100% virtual because there was a spike in our county. I told you before that our county is like a very rural area, and it seems like our spikes have like been later than other places. So some places were actually looking at going back, and we were spiking. So we had already been back and for hybrid, and decided that it wasn't worth it for the few weeks after Christmas. So we went ahead to a month-by-month kind of plan, and we did completely virtual from January 4th until just last week. Our board announced that we were going to be going back 3 days a week instead of 2. Anyway, we went to a fully virtual schedule, which we changed up from the way we were doing it before. And our schedule, when we were fully virtual in August, it was like 1 block a day with remediation on Friday, and then the kids were supposed to do all of their other work in the afternoons. We found out that they weren't doing all of their other work in the afternoons. It wasn't working. Kids would literally pick a subject every week, and they would do that work, and then the next week they would end up doing another subject. Of course, you have some students that always do everything like they're supposed to, but the majority of the students were not able to figure out their schedule, even though we try to help them with it. So to make it easier on them, we went to a 4 block a day schedule. We were resuming every block. The whole building was doing the same schedule. It was rough for me because I have 2 split classes. So that meant that I only got 30 minutes for my 6th graders and my 8th graders. And then I had to switch with no break in between to my other group, which was insane. I was so glad that I had one Zoom for both of those groups, even though technically we're supposed to have a different link for each class. I had one because there was no way I was going to end a class and get into another Zoom in time. Like, I was constantly like letting in my second group of students and finishing up with my first in like real quick, like 30 seconds. So anyway, glad I'm done with that. I'm glad to be over with that. So we're going back. Today is an asynchronous day. The kids and the teachers are working asynchronously. We have meetings. This is a day for planning. This is a day for training. But anyway, we're going to be having our students for 4 blocks a day for like an early release schedule is sort of what it's like. So that's so that we can work with our kids that are still at home by choice for different reasons between 1 and 3. So once the governor relaxes the restrictions a little bit more and gives us like more of an option in the middle school to go to plan A, which would be all of the kids back. The social distancing is like recommended but not required, so it's more like 3 to 6 feet instead of like a strong 6 feet. Then I'm sure that our district will probably follow suit with that decision and bring all of our students back. So, but I mean, I think the rest of the year they're going to have a choice until next fall, which I'm hoping and imagining that all of our kids will be back for a regular schedule next fall by state requirement. So we'll see. Anyway, they just rolled out in North Carolina, the vaccination for teachers being like frontline workers. They classified us as essential personnel, frontline workers, which I think they did before, but they didn't classify us that way in the vaccination release. So some of the teachers were able to get vaccinated, at first, and then when the vaccination like supply slowed down, then we weren't able to do it. So I still have to see for myself personally, because I have an appointment with a rheumatologist, which is really difficult to schedule, coming up in like April, the end of April. So when I talk to the rheumatologist and I find out about exactly what the rheumatologist thinks as far as my risks with being immunocompromised, then I will possibly get vaccinated at that time. I am reading a lot more about it, and I'm just sort of like looking and seeing how everyone is doing with it. Being a scientist, like, you're like, okay, science changes all the time. Like, the current science shows this, but we haven't studied this for years. So, trying to be careful, not put anything in my body that I'm not sure is going to be a good idea for me. And so here's what I'm going to do this morning. I have these gifts from Christmas that I have not used yet. I usually put away my Christmas gifts until the following year, unless it's something that I'm going to use right away. I might have this cocoa tonight, actually, but I probably won't use the mug until next year. So this is something that I didn't pick up. I guess I was tired and I just forgot to pick it up. Anyway, I might have some hot cocoa today while I'm at school. That sounds kind of good. And then I need to write thank you notes. So I want to go through and make sure that I have thanked all the people that gave me things. And then I'm going to work on some like to-do lists today with my teacher planner. I need to look at my long-term running to-do list that I have in here. And I need to pull things off of that can get done today and set basically power list for myself for the next week. I can adjust those if I need to, but I just need to do that because I'll be so much more efficient. I need to clean up. I need to put away that kind of stuff. I need to clear off my front student monitoring area. And I have some paper that I really would like to get put up this weekend. Might come out here on Saturday for a little while and do that. It's like this wallpaper that's like adhesive and you can take it off if you want. So like if for some reason I wasn't in this classroom, a teacher could come and like easily like just heat it up, pull it off. So I was thinking I might hang some pictures too. I have some mixed tiles that I could put up like over here. I don't know if they'll stay up on this wall. They probably won't, but they will stay up on this wall. That's an inside wall. So hang some stuff around my desk. Just kind of like get myself back in the mindset. I've got to refill all of my like kits for students for hand washing and cleaning tables when we come back. So yeah, that's what I'm up to today. Lots of just like organizing, cleaning, kind of stuff you normally do in like January back to school time. Yeah, I don't even have to have my mask on right now because the governor put out some new information saying that teachers did not have to have their masks on when they were doing a broadcast, so aka Zoom or Google Hangout, Google Meets, and they did not have to have it on when they were alone in their classrooms. So I could take it off right now if I want to until someone opens my door, and then I have to put it right back on. So you'll probably see me like this most of the time. Sixth graders tomorrow. I had this plan for this week, but the issue was that I have Monday was a remote day for all students. Tuesday was the first back to school day, and I needed to go over procedures and lab safety because we're getting ready to go into the stations that I planned on conduction, convection, and radiation. And when they do that, they're going to be working with hot plates. So I had to do lab safety ahead of that. Plus, they just really haven't had much of that this year, so it was time. So this was my first day back to school, but unfortunately on this day, I only got to meet with one of my groups of students, and that was my 8th graders, who they've already had lab safety. So for them, it was a review. And then I had them do the Valentine's STEM activity that I got from Josie Bensko's TPT store that's on Bridge Building, which didn't really go with anything that I was teaching in 8th grade at the time. It went better with my 6th and my 7th grade because we were talking about balanced and unbalanced forces, and in 7th grade, and in 6th grade, just the whole energy transfer concept, you can kind of connect it to that. But really, it was just like a fun back to school thing that I wanted to do. So I went ahead and I did that with my 8th grade group. But then we got to today, and I was nowhere near ready to do stations with my 6th grade group. I hadn't started with my 6th grade group. So my first 6th grade group, my 6A group, we did this activity today. And then my 8th graders, they're working on a comic that they are trying to tell about what they've been learning about different types of dating or evolutionary theory. So I let them work on their comics today while the 6th graders were catching up from this activity from yesterday. So we completed that for the 6A group. Now tomorrow, Thursday, I'm not ready for stations because I'm switching to my 6B group. So these students that I did this with today, they're actually going to another teacher tomorrow and again on Tuesday. Monday will be a remote day, so I'll Zoom with them. So I've got to figure that out later. So anyway, these stations are going to end up getting pushed to next week because of all of that, the schedule changes that we had as a result of the tornado watch and the delay. So I have 2 hands-on things going on tomorrow, but this is just me. I'm doing a demo, so I have to have those materials ready for myself. And then the 7th grade, it's hands-on, but really I just have to pull some things out of the closet that they need. And they have to do their design first on paper before I give them any materials. So that gives me time to get that together. This I need to have ready to go in the morning so I could just like pull it off over to my demo table, my cart. And then this I can look for this in the morning, and then I can get it all together and set up during my planning time, which I have like an hour and about an hour and a half while the students are eating lunch, and I have planning before this class comes in after my 6th grade group is over. So that should work pretty well. So I'm feeling pretty good about tomorrow. I just need to make a quick to-do list for myself. And then as soon as I have that done, I will be able to rest. And so I can put this away and go to bed and get up the next day and get started on it.